everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's on Sale at Psychedelic Art Exchange. We're very excited because this week we're running a unique auction called Texas Tornado that focuses primarily on vintage psychedelic posters from Austin, Texas. It's a topic we've discussed a little bit in previous videos, but we're going to do a deep dive today because there's some really cool stuff and we're just super excited to show it off.
Yeah, this is a wonderful collection that we have to auction in this sale, and it is much easier to talk about this with the physical examples in front of us. And the first one is really the beginning of it all with the Texas psychedelic music scene. This is VG Roman numeral 1. This is the handbill for the first poster in the Vulcan Gas series. It started as the Electric Grandmother was what the promotion group called themselves for the first couple of shows, but this is a handbill in wonderful shape from the first event, and it's signed by Rocky Erickson. I mean, Rocky Erickson is a story within itself. The likely one of the top innovators of what we call psychedelic rock. According to accounts, the Elevators were the first band ever used the term psychedelic rock. So this is the beginning of it, and it's signed by Rocky. Those of you that aren't familiar with Rocky Erickson's story, it's one of the more, I guess, tragic stories in the whole thing. I mean, he was arrested for one joint and had a choice of either going to prison or going to a mental institution, and he chose the mental institution where they did all kinds of mean and nasty things to him. And he was already kind of an interesting character to begin with. He was the start of all this. Really the most powerful early band to come out of Texas and influenced so much psychedelic rock. I mean, even proto-punk, he's still admired and worshipped today. Didn't you go to some club that had?
Oh, I played at it. Yeah, I played there in Austin. There's a club in Austin that's like Rocky Erickson 13th Floor Elevators themed. They had posters. I don't think they were originals, but they were cool, and I recognized them.
But anyways, this is a really heavy piece, and it's just the beginning. So keep an eye on this one.
Just the beginning.
And now on to the larger size Vulcan Gas Company posters. For a while, they made these giant posters that were colorful and highly collectible. This is probably the toughest to find. I mean, yeah, some of that early Electric Grandmother stuff is like hen's teeth. But this, as far as posters go, and it's sexy, it's split fountain printing, and the popular culture reference is what everyone digs. Pooh and Eeyore and Piglet. It's
great.
And the rest of the characters. This poster has sold for $23,000 in the past. Heritage had a sale, I think, in 22 or 23. So it's a really valuable, scarce, in-demand poster. If you're learning about this venue and these posters, this would be the one to go for if you're really interested. And if you're an experienced collector and this is the one hole in your collection, now is the time.
There you go.
Moving right along. And oh, by the way, it was illustrated by Gilbert Shelton, who was the creator of Underground Comics, Rip-Off Press, Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. Gilbert was the man, and he started it all. And then it went on to all these amazing other artists down the road, Jim Franklin and whatnot. But Gilbert did the first of the Vulcan posters. Another Gilbert Shelton 13th Floor Elevators poster. And I'm going to leave this one under plexi because it's a little bit curly. And I mean, it's not in wonderful shape, but again, this is one of the most sought after posters. It's again, the Elevators, it's Shelton. This is one of the wilder ones. This is one of the really fun posters that people look for. Again, it's not in wonderful shape, but the image itself is super cool. And there's all sorts of subversive messages in the brain matter here. You can read pot clearly, and there's, you know, other illicit substances hiding in there, much like Griffin hid "We Ate the Acid" in the Oxymoxoa poster. So all sorts of fun and games. You know, the Texas hippies were only different than the San Francisco hippies because they had more access to psychedelic cactus instead of LSD. So it's sort of shaped the scene a little bit differently. Take that for what you will. But anyhow, Gilbert Shelton, 13th floor elevators, the sweet spot in Texas psychedelic rock posters.
Love it. And they're just, all these posters are beautiful.
Gorgeous. And now we go on to the next Texas venue of you know, that had really the finest artwork and illustration maybe of any of the series. I know that's an opinion, but some of the Armadillo posters are so well illustrated, and they were on short timelines too. This was not and this guy, the guy that did this poster, this is for a Gentle Giant poster in 73. Gentle Giant was a prog rock band, and Steel Eye Span was sort of a British folk rock band, folk music band. But this illustration by Ken Featherston is nuts. He was really revered by all the other illustrators. He was, you know, he had the best shading, cross hatching. It's just amazing work. So for the artwork alone, this poster is worthwhile. Ken was actually shot in the parking lot of Armadillo. He was mistaken for a bouncer that had thrown out a drunk who came back with a gun and ended his life. So that's
crazy story.
One of the rich stories from the Armadillo. And yeah, so anyhow, we love Armadillo posters here. Another great Texas musician was Doug Somm, FD16. This is one of my favorite posters from the Family Dog series that was printed slightly off register. You can see the red and green lines create a 3D effect, like when you had those 3D glasses. I don't know, you're probably too young to know, but it was a thing. The green and the yellow plastic.
You took me to 3D movies.
Okay, all right. Anyhow, but anyhow, that's there was, like in Mad Magazine, they would have 3D glasses attached to the spine, and you would put them on, and the thing would pop. But yeah, so you know, the Sir Douglas Quintet, they were a wonderful band. They were, I guess, their management made them come up with the name. They were trying to sound like a British invasion band or something, but they were wonderful. And Doug Somm was one of the most talented musicians with one of the greatest voices. And if you don't know about Doug, find out. He left us too early, but he had a reasonable career.
And I mean, that's a great opportunity to talk about the connection between Texas and San Francisco in this time, because there were a lot of innovators from Texas that went to San Francisco.
Right. Yeah, Chet Helms came from Texas. Janis Joplin came from Texas. And Doug. And this I mean, this portrait of Doug is beautiful. It captures him. If you're a fan of Doug, this is a poster from 75 at the Ritz. And as a side note, musician Harry Anderson, for anyone that remembers, Harry Anderson was the judge on Night Court, a sitcom in the 80s, I guess. Anyhow, just another strange little footnote from Poster World.
Yeah, we've got it all.
We're going to shift gears a little bit now and go to San Francisco, because we have a poster from the great Miles Davis that, you know, hardly ever shows up. I mean, Miles posters, you have to get excited about. One of the greatest influences on American popular music, jazz, whatever. This is from the Keystone Corner in San Francisco, and 1974. Miles, at this time, he was in an octet, and he was again changing it again, and he was going into more experimental areas. And this poster does not come up for sale. if you're into jazz, if you're into Miles, if you get what I'm saying, key in on this.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool jazz
Oh, there's so
posters
much.
in
There's so
this
much to
auction
talk
as
about. Choosing
well.
stuff for this talk was really tough because this is a packed sale. This is just it
Yeah.
happens once in a while. It's like a wheel of fortune, but once in a while it lands on the jackpot, and this is one of those sales. And here, Albert King, the real thing, one of the greatest electric blues guitar players ever. He didn't have the fame of BB King, and he's revered by all of them. Hendrix, Peter Green, all the blues players that came in the 60s revered Albert King. And this is a cardboard poster from Chicago from 1970. It's for those of you that collect cardboard or chase the blues.
Yeah, look at that.
And then again, just because we've never sold this poster and it's an important venue, this is the grand opening from Slim's in 1988. Slim's was a club that was open from 88 until pandemic and had so many acts roll through. But this is the grand opening. Katie Webster, Delbert McClinton, and Presidio Slim, who was Boz Scaggs, who was owner of the club. So that's the story. It's an important piece. It opened up around the same time as the New Fillmore. The New Fillmore opened up around then and then closed down after the earthquake for a while and then reopened. But Slim's was always there. I saw a bunch of shows at Slim's. It was a great room.
Yeah, and we've never offered that poster before. It's really cool.
No. It's important. Think of these number ones are number ones. They're always the hottest number in collectible, the first poster. So the VG one, the Slims one, if you want to call it that, these are worth it for collectors that really want to, have the key pieces in any collection.
Yeah. And the time is now for you to bid because this auction closes on Sunday, June 1st at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, as always, for tuning into this YouTube video. Please feel free to leave us a comment, a like, whatever you're feeling. We're happy to be here, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you all.